All right, so today we're going to do a little video on mono printing. What you're going to need is your sketchbook or a piece of paper. I love using bubble wrap. If you have it, you can use that. A baggie, for sure, everybody needs a baggie. Bubble wrap optional, but you need a baggie. A paintbrush. If you don't have a paintbrush, you can use your fingers, you can use a cotton ball, anything along those lines. A Q-tip, oh, I forgot to bring one, but a Q-tip is really awesome because it can make little dots. It sort of can replicate a bubble wrap, so that's another thing that you guys can use. I like using a fork, and you can use whatever you want, but it just gives a cool texture. So think about those different kinds of things. And then I would highly suggest 3 different colors of paint so that you can get some variety in there. You don't want to do too many, and if you're putting something on top of your mono print, you want to save a color. Like if you only have 4 colors, you want to save a color so that your whatever you put on top shows up. So really think about that. You can always mix and blend. Like if I don't like how blue that is, maybe I make a blue green, those kinds of things. So what this cool thing about mono printing is mono printing means one print. So mono means one. So why we're using a baggie is because generally the paint will come off after we put it on here, right? There are times where you can make a ghost print. So a ghost print is when you have already printed this, and I will show you all of this, but you've already printed it and there's a little bit of paint left on here, and you don't put more on, you just use it and print it again. So that is what a ghost print is. But mono printing means that with that one print, whatever you've done on whatever surface, like you have to start all over. Whereas some other printmaking techniques, you can carve something and then you'll be able to print that same image or same design multiple times. Whereas with mono printing, I make this one thing and I print it, and then I may be able to get another ghost print, but that's it. I have to start all the way over with whatever design I'm gonna do. So that's why it's called mono printing. I have a baggie right here. I'm not gonna use the side that has the little thing on it. I just think it's gonna get all like weird. The other thing that you can use is saran wrap. If you don't have a baggie, you can also use tin foil. That is a great thing, and actually I might stop and go grab some. But I like to crumple up tin foil too, and crumple that up. And you can go like that. You can use paper, newspaper, if you don't have tin foil, and crumple it up, or a paper towel, and it gives a really cool texture. I'm actually gonna go grab a paper towel and tin foil. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. So I grabbed a piece of tin foil, which this is way too much, and I grabbed some paper towel, again, a little bit too much. The cool thing about mono printing is you can use whatever you have around you to print. So I like to just sort of crumple this up like this into some weird odd shape, and then I'll just leave it and I'll use that later. And then your paper towel, you can sort of do the same thing. Just take a piece and crumple it up, and you can use that. And they may give you very similar, and we're gonna try them, but that's the whole point of this, is to test it out, see what works and what doesn't work. So they may give us similar texture, but we're gonna go from there. Okay, first off, I'm gonna start with my lighter color, which is my orange. Not orange, holy cow, my yellow. My brush is a little wonky. So I'm gonna start off with my yellow. Am I on the side I want? Yep. And I'm just gonna do some lines here, sort of painting it, but having it a little bit more abstract. I also am gonna come in with the back of my paintbrush, and I am going to make some designs in here. I'm gonna do one more here, a little guy down here. Okay, so I'll set that off, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna situate where I want it to go and just press down with my hand, sort of moving all around, and then I can peel it up, and then there's my print, which I know it's sort of hard to see because I'm using yellow. And then I'm going to try to print it again. It looks like there's a little bit here, so I'm gonna ghost print it and really press down again. And my print, my second print, should be much, much lighter because it's like a ghost print, like it's there or not there. So it is a little bit lighter, except for in the parts where I forgot to put that down. So I'm gonna do one more layer of yellow. I'm actually gonna move this off to the side so I don't put my baggie on the wet paint. The point of this is to get texture. So if you are, and this time, actually I'm gonna keep up with these little swirls here. Sorry, I covered it up, but I need to hold it down. The point of monoprinting is to get texture. If I wanted to paint the background and have no texture, I could just take a paintbrush, right? So we really, really wanna make sure that we're trying to get something different than what we would normally get with just a paintbrush. So I'm gonna put it in this area here. Again, trying to get all of those areas. And then lift it up. And I'm gonna do another little ghost print down here. And it's okay if you have some negative space. It's nice to let your piece breathe. All right, so I don't know if you can see it, but if I raise this up a little bit, you can see that there are some swirly parts in there. It's just a little bit more difficult to see with the yellow. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm not really gonna wash my brush. You could if you wanted, but I'm gonna do some green on here. I'm gonna do just really lightly though. And I like that I haven't washed my brush because then it'll give me like a yellowy green. So just putting it on here, sort of mixing it, and then I'm going to do lines. I want this to be really textured. I'm not doing them super perfect or straight, but really wanting to get a lot of line texture in here. And this is all about experimenting. So when I started doing the lines, this is not exactly what I had in mind, but as I start doing this, I really like the look of it. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it, let's do it right there. Ooh, that looks cool. So I'm gonna see if I can get another ghost print out of this. I don't really think so because I didn't put a ton of green on, so it might be really, really light. Oh yeah, see, it didn't really show up that well. I'm gonna do that again though. I really like that look. So as you start doing this, and I'm gonna put a little bit of yellow on my brush because I like that lighter green color, not so in your face. So as you start doing this, like you're gonna figure out like what you like and what you don't like. And that's the beauty of this, is sort of experimenting and figuring out how you like it. The other thing is it's sort of really freeing because nothing has to be perfect, right? I think a lot of times in art, we think it has to be perfect and we're stressed about having to look a certain way. The main point of monoprinting is experimenting and getting those textures down. So if you got that, then you're good to go. I had someone in one of my classes take a huge hosta leaf, which is a plant that most of us have at our houses, and do that, and man, it was beautiful. So think outside the box, you know? It doesn't have to be things that we just find around our house. It can be things that we find outside as well. Cool. I want to do a little bit here and there, and I think I'm going to need more paint because you could see here that there was some coming up. So try to go a little bit faster here. All right. Move this guy back over. And again, I'm just testing it out, sort of figuring out what I like and what I don't like. Oh yeah, see, that was a little bit more paint, and that's okay. So let's see if I can get another ghost print. And it can go all the way to the pages. I'm just sort of focusing on the middle of my page. But you can definitely fill up this space as well. Hopefully that shows up a little bit. Not so much, but that's okay. We're gonna move on though. I could go on for a long time. Now I'm gonna take, I'm actually gonna mix some green and some blue together. And again, I did not wash my brush because they're all in the same color family. Obviously, if I had like red in here and I mixed green with it, that would not look good. It would actually turn out to be like a grayish, brownish color. So because I have these all in the same color family, I can just use them without washing my brush out. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come on here and just gently paint my, keep painting my hand, my bubble wrap here. I'm just gonna choose some areas to use it. And I think it needs to be a little bit more blue. It's blending in a little too much with the green. So again, another thing to change, but not a big deal. I'm actually gonna go over this spot because it didn't show up very well. Yeah, I like that much better. Okay, and I'm gonna come and just use some different techniques, show you guys here. So I'm gonna take my fork, put some paint on it. And yes, you can use a fork that you eat with, because once you wash it, it'll be fine. But I'm just sort of using it and just going in different directions. It really goes along with the lines that I did beforehand, even though I did not plan that. And I'm, again, not putting too much paint on. I think I'll do one more up here where they're, and, you know, you have to find that happy medium of like, am I adding too much texture? Like, is this done? Is it not done? I think if I were doing this for real, I would be done, but I want to show you guys some other techniques here. So just adding a little bit of paint on that, and then coming in so this is going to make some really organic textures that you don't have planned for, and sometimes because you have to smush it down and you may have to open it back up and push it back together. So it's not going to be the same every time with your tin foil, which is cool. And it's going to get very light, thin. It'll probably give you more of a delicate instead of such a big, you know, bold. It'll give you more delicate lines. So same thing with your paper towel here. And I actually think I'm going to take some yellow. And because my brush is blue, I'm going to just dip it in here. And then maybe dab some of it off, because again, you don't want a ton of paint. I'm gonna come back on. So it's giving it some sort of like spongy, if you guys can see on the side here. So I could fill in some areas with it, but still adding it on, making some other areas a little bit lighter if I think they're too dark. Or like if I feel like over here needs a little bit more color, you know, sort of adding it on. So this is monoprinting. Very fun, very easy. And as you can tell, I did not use a ton of paint. So you don't need a lot, like I should have gotten way less, right? But you don't need a ton of paint for this. It's just really, really fun experimenting, taking your different colors. Remember, a lot of times what you do with monoprinting is you, well, I guess I shouldn't say a lot of times, because some people will just leave it like this. For our purpose, we are going to put something on top. So you have to be mindful of how dark your colors or light your colors are. So if I had these colors, whatever I'm going to put on top should probably be the opposite, like a red or an orange. Black would even be okay, but I have to make sure that that's why I sort of lightened these up, so that I was able to put something else on top of here. But this is monoprinting.